Kalimera pedia από τον Άφλιο. This is a quick video that I wanted to do today here while I'm going for my walk. And this video is about the 10 things that first-time travelers need to know when coming to Greece. Number one, how hot it gets. Now, for those of you who are coming to Greece for the very first time, it's most likely that you're gonna come in the summertime. Make sure that you wear sun protection. Make sure that you're wearing sunglasses. Make sure that you wear a hat. Make sure that you drink enough water. This might seem obvious to you, but if you've never been to Greece, Greece in the summertime is extremely hot. You don't want to be one of those purple tourists that are walking around Greece between the month of July and August. What I mean by that is that you see them all over the islands and all over Greece. You can tell that they have taken way too much sun to the point that it's not even healthy. So make sure that you protect yourself from the sun, because the sun over here in Greece in the summer does not forgive. Number two, wearing the proper shoes when going and visiting archaeological sites. I've seen this time and time again, and I see people wearing flip-flops or sandals when they're going to the Acropolis or when they're going to any archaeological sites. When visiting an archaeological site, you have to think like you're going on a hike. You have to be in the mindset that you're going to go for a hike just like this one. Make sure that you're wearing proper shoes, okay? Archaeological sites are usually very rough terrains, slippery marbles. I mean, what you have to avoid is wearing flip-flops and sandals when going to the Acropolis or any other archaeological site. I did a video quite recently about the Palamidi, which is a castle here in Nafplio, and I saw tourists just wearing not the right shoes, and it was a rainy day. It was a muddy, slippery, rainy day, and it's full of rocks, and you know, I saw people wearing just not the appropriate shoes. They're actually wearing flip-flops and sandals, and you know, it's extremely dangerous. And obviously, if you've never been to Greece before, how would you know, right? How would you know what type of shoes you need to wear when visiting the Acropolis, when visiting other important archaeological sites, like the Palamidi here in Nafplio, which is a castle, okay? And up there, the terrain is very uneven. You gotta be very careful. So don't wear shoes that is not appropriate for this type of hikes. Again, you have to think that when you come to Greece and you're gonna visit archaeological sites, have the mindset that you're going for a hike. Okay, number three, driving. If you're a tourist and you come and rent a car, in order to drive around Greece, you gotta be aware of how Greeks drive. I've spoken about this before on a previous video. Here in Greece, driving, it's a little bit dangerous, so you gotta be aware of that. Make sure that you're very cautious, not if you're driving so much, but of those around you. When you're driving around Athens, Athens is a very crowded city, especially in the summer. So there are certain things that you need to be aware of. In fact, if you're gonna be in Athens, and you're gonna be around the Acropolis area, Monasteraki, Plaka, I wouldn't even take a car. Well, I would probably just park the car somewhere and do all of the sightseeing around Athens in that area, just walking, because it's just not worth it, really, being around with a car. Number four, shops close in Messimeri. Shops and businesses close at around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, all the way up to 5:30 or 6 o'clock in the afternoon. Obviously, if you're in a big city like Athens or Thessaloniki, you're in the center of these cities, this might be a little bit different, okay? Or if you're at the mall, you know, in Athens or whatever. But generally speaking, most shops and businesses close for Messimeri. So this is for many reasons, but if you're visiting Greece in the summertime, it just gets too hot in Messimeri. So shops are just going to be closed. There's nothing around. People are going for siestas. They're just having a meal and then just resting for the rest of the afternoon. It's technically impossible to do anything when it gets too hot. Actually learn about the Greek culture in that sense. Siga siga, right? So mesimeri here in Greece is a very slow part of the day. In fact, there is a law that you're not allowed to make noises between the hours of 2 o'clock and 5:30 in the afternoons, I believe it is. I think in the summer it's different, but there is a law here. So for example, if you have somebody at your house working, right, like a construction or a handyman or whatever, and you're doing some housework, like you're, I don't know, fixing some plumbing issues in your home, and you're doing this at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the neighbor can actually call the police. Number 5, don't throw toilet paper down the toilet. I've spoken about this on a previous video. This has to do with the pipes and the sewage systems here in Greece. Regardless if you're in a Greek island or you're in Athens, you're gonna see signs everywhere, in tavernas, restaurants, everywhere, even hotels. Number 6, don't drink tap water. Do not drink water from the tap. Unless you're in Athens and certain cities, it's safe to drink water from the tap. However, if you're going to a Greek island, the first thing you should do is buy water. So here in Nafplio, for example, we do not drink water from the tap. And this is something that I learned after living here for a couple of weeks. I had a plumber come to the house fixing something in the sink, and he very casually mentioned it to us. I hope you're not drinking water from the tap. It came as a shock to us at the time because we were already living here for a couple of weeks drinking water from the tap. And you know, it's just not that safe. It's better to just either have a filter or buy water. So, but if you're a tourist, you have to be aware of this. Number 7, here in Greece, we do not understand personal space. There's a lack of understanding when it comes down to personal space. I've been living here for so long that in the beginning it was a little bit weird, but then again, I grew up in Venezuela and we have this as well in Venezuela. So what does this mean? Well, what it means is that if you're coming from the States or the UK or any other northern country, and you're so used to being in line, like queuing, right? Like in the UK, English people are so famous for queuing. They're just in line waiting for something, right? To buy a ticket, to get on the bus, to get on the tube. Here in Greece, they will be very, very close to you. They will come on the side. People will just be around you. Now, for my fellow Greeks, don't get offended because I live here and I tend to do this as well myself, all right? But for you that you're coming here to Greece and you're traveling to Greece and you're going to a Greek island, for example, and you're getting on a ferry, first of all, you should arrive way in advance to take that ferry with enough time. Once you're in line in that ferry, understand that everything might seem like it's normal. As soon as those doors open, or as soon as the ferry doors open in order for people to go in the ferry, all hell will break loose. And if you're getting off the ferry, that's even worse. What I do when I go to the Greek islands on a ferry, what I do is that I just get off the last. But this is something that I was doing in Venezuela anyways. Because in Venezuela, we have the same mindset, okay? So if I'm getting off the ferry, I just wait for everybody else to get off. Number 8, when visiting Greece, when you go to a taverna or you're gonna order food for that matter, make sure to be open to other types of food that most tourists usually order when coming to Greece. I mean, the Greek cuisine is so rich, you know, that you shouldn't just order moussaka and a Greek salad. I mean, it's most likely that you already know about these two famous dishes, and of course the famous gyro. Of course it's not gyro, it's gyros. But, you know, there's so much more to the Greek cuisine than just that. I will take that a step further and I will even ask for advice from the person that is serving you in a taverna. I have seen so many people going to a Greek island and ordering macaronia. Macaronia here in Greece is spaghetti. There's nothing wrong with ordering spaghetti. I'm not here to tell you what to eat when you come here to Greece. However, you're missing out big time by coming to Greece, going to a Greek island and ordering macaronia. as a tourist, there's so many other things that you should enjoy and try out for the very first time. So ask for directions, if you will, from the servitoros, from the person who is serving you. If you go to Apsaro Taberna, all right, then ask what is there, what do you have, what's the fish of the day or whatever, right? What is available? I mean, here in Greece, for example, when you go to Apsaro Taberna, it's not uncommon for somebody to go and see the fish that they have just brought in, okay, that they have just fished. All right, and actually people do that. When I came to Greece here for the first time, and I went with my father-in-law to Apsaro Taberna, I didn't understand what happened. In the beginning, we just sat down, and all of a sudden I see him, you know, what seemed to be an argument with the servitoro, and he got up right before we ordered the food, and he went at the back of the kitchen, and I was asking my wife, what's going on? We haven't even ordered any food yet, and your dad is already going a little bit bonkers already. He's like, no, it's normal. He's just going at the back to see how fresh the fish is. This is something that is really, really normal here in Greece. Obviously, if you're a tourist, you might not do that. But I'm just telling you of an insight into the Greek culture, how to get the best out of your experience when coming here and ordering food. Okay, another thing when ordering food and drinks here in Greece, this is for my American friends. When you come to Greece and you order coffee with cream, Greeks do not understand what that means, really. There is no such a thing as coffee with cream here in Greece. Don't get offended. I lived in the States. My mother lives in the States for many, many years. My mother is American, Venezuelan American. And even she makes that mistake when coming to Greece. I'm shocked at times because she's been to Greece many, many times. And I keep telling her, Mom, there is no such a thing as coffee with cream, right? And I understand where you're coming from, right? I drink Greek coffee. So when I travel abroad, I know that I cannot just show up to a coffee place and say, Θέλω ελληνικό καφέ, right? Θέλω ένα διπλό ελληνικό καφέ σκέτο. They're gonna look at me and say like, the hell is that? What's wrong with you? There is no such a thing as a Greek coffee when I'm going to London, for example. When I went to London last year, it was a problem. And I understand because people that drink coffee, they like their coffee. So it's a very hard thing to adapt when traveling. Just understand that here you can have cappuccinos, lattes, freddo espresso, frappe. If you're a tourist and you're visiting Greece, you should definitely order frappe. This is what most Greeks drink here. Actually, that has changed a little bit over the years. People nowadays here in Greece, they don't drink so much frappe, but they drink freddo espressos. All right, freddo espresso is nothing more than cold espresso coffee. However, as a tourist, as a visitor, I will certainly say to you to order a frappe. Frappe is nothing more than Nescafe, instant coffee, cold, okay? Another fun fact, another story that I have to mention here to you, and I love my mother to death, okay? But this is something that I have seen time and time again, not only with tourists, but as well with my mother and loved ones, people that live in the States, okay? So my mother came to visit us here to Nafle one time, and we're sitting down in this cafe, right? And they serve various things. It was a morning, right? And we're ordering coffee and juices and whatever, okay? And my mom said, I think she ordered pancakes. And I said to my mom, pancakes? Mom, we're not in America. I mean, they don't have pancakes. I can tell you, without looking at the menu, I told my mom, there is no such a thing as pancakes in this place. I can guarantee you that, all right? So you have to adapt. You have to think outside of the box. And I'm not blaming my mother or tourists, but we have to adapt and say like, okay, I'm visiting a foreign country. I'm there on holiday. What do people eat for breakfast? What's their coffee like? You know what I mean? What's their culture? What's the costumes about? It's not about us keeping the same, you know, the same costumes and things. It's actually like trying something different while we're traveling. At least this is my take as someone who travels and someone who has lived in different countries. I want to experience the country through the lens of people that live there. And I want to know, what do they have for breakfast, right? I want to know, what can I order when I go to a foreign country, what exactly do they eat? How do they eat it? When they eat it? Okay, number 9, make sure that when you come to Greece, be mindful of how much luggage you have. Make sure that you're aware that if you're going to an island like Santorini, or you're gonna go, even if you come here to Nafplio, you're staying in the old town, and you have big luggages, big, suitcase, it could be a problem for you to go up the stairs. For example, here in Nafplio, if you're gonna go to the old town, it's very narrow streets where cars do not go. You're gonna have to go up the stairs with your big luggage, right? This is true as well in the Greek islands. Obviously, if you're staying for a long period of time, you're gonna have to have a lot of luggage, but just be aware that here in Greece it's a little bit different, especially if you're going again to the Greek islands, or you're going to in the countryside, or a Chorio, or an old town like here in Nafplio, like I'm mentioning. I've seen people struggle. They bring all of this big, heavy luggage, and they're trying to, go up the stairs to stay in our Airbnb or a pension. It is a problem. We have to be mindful of this. I did that mistake when I went to the Greek islands for the first time. So I'm talking from experience. When I arrived to the Greek island, we had this massive luggage, and I was like, oh my God, and there's no car where we're going. My room is over there, and I have to go up the stairs. There's just no shortcut. You have to carry your luggage with you, and I have seen this time and time again. Okay, and finally, be aware that here in Greece, we experience a lot of strikes. So if you're unprepared for that, make sure that you're informed somehow. There's usually some type of information about the upcoming strikes. I'm not trying to be negative here. I'm just trying to be realistic and try to let you know that these things happen. Listen, this happens everywhere. In fact, when I went to England last year, I was told that there was a major strike in the whole of London while I was going to be staying in around that time. So I had to be informed of it. So this is not something that just happens here in Greece, all right? This happens everywhere. Λοιπόν, παιδιά, ευχαριστώ πάρα πολύ. Σας αγαπώ πάρα πολύ. Thank you so much for all the love and support. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in another video.